Hi guys, my name is Annalie and welcome to my DIY channel. Today I am participating in a challenge which has a playlist for the 5 under 5 challenge, and there will be more on that later. So let's get right into it, and I hope you guys will be patient with my introduction. I am kind of just skipping over what I typically do because I am recovering from a cold and my voice still kind of sounds like I've been talking from the inside of a coffee can. And so I am just going to be talking to you guys like this, and I just wasted a lot of time right there. So wow, okay, let's see if I can catch up. I am going to be making a bunny that is from a piece of scrap wood. This is a 2x6, and what you saw right there was I free-handed a bunny because I want to do this really cute idea. You guys will see how it turns out, but I wanted to cut out this bunny with this really thick piece of wood, and so I am using my jigsaw to cut out this pattern that I drew. Now, when I say that I free-handed it, I did look at a bunny that I got from the Dollar Tree that I just kind of brought it down to scale so that it would fit, and then I drew it on. And now the key to success for using your jigsaw like this is those clamps right there. So you can see that I have it clamped onto the wooden bench right there, and that is what makes it so that this is nice and sturdy so that I can cut these pieces. Because the wood was so thick, I made sure to really take my time, especially with turning it for the cuts. And you're going to want to make sure that if you do this, that you have a really sharp blade, and maybe even an extra one on hand, because every time I turned a little too much, well, not every time, but I broke a few blades. So here you can see this is my rough cut bunny right here. And what I meant earlier about like drawing it down to scale is the bunny that I was going to trace was too big for the width of the 2x6 board. So I ended up just looking at it and freehanding it so that it would fit in the space that I had. Now I want this bunny to look really aged, and so I'm going to spend a lot of time right here sanding it. At first I took my automatic sander right here to it, and I just went around all of those edges really good. In some areas I really was kind of heavy-handed with the sanding so that it had some like obvious uneven spaced sanding dents, I guess, for lack of a better term, kind of like where you push the sanding down and it makes like more of a flat spot. And so then we finish this up with some hand sanding, and then we're going to be painting it in just a minute. So using this plaque that I got from the Dollar Tree, right here I'm just measuring to find the center so that we can use this really large drill bit to drill a hole right in the middle. This drill bit is going to be the size of a dowel piece of wood because we're going to be putting this little bunny on a dowel. So now, using the color Provincial stain in the Minwax brand, I went ahead and I just got everything stained. You can see that the bunny is just kind of rough sanded or like smooth sanded. It's unevenly sanded, and I went ahead and I did both sides just because if you see the back of this, I wanted it to look complete, but I really do have the one side that'll be the front that I like a little bit better. And so that's going to be the front right there. Then I went ahead, and after that stain was dry, I wanted this to really primarily be white with just some of the stain showing through, almost so that it just gave that really aged look. And so at first you can see that as I'm putting this on, I decided that it actually was going to work even better to use my hands for this, because then it was uneven, it was spaced. This is kind of what gave me the idea to use my fingers right there, where I kind of started spreading it out just a little bit. I was like, wait a minute, this is actually going on in a technique that I really like. I've never used this before, and I did not use a baby wipe to water this down at all. I wanted this to be thick and uneven and just almost raised in different areas, and so just really heavy-handed in chalk paint, white chalk paint by Waverly, and I did this to the base as well. Here in just a minute you're going to see that dowel rod come into place. I did lose some footage with cutting it and staining it, but here it is finally making its debut, and this is kind of the same technique, just with giving it that chalk paint. It worked out really good. It actually went on really fast to use my hands instead, and I think that I'm going to be using this technique a lot more. So the beautiful thing about like a farmhouse style is you can just make a giant mess and you can call it art, right? You can just call it farmhouse. Now this is called the speed square, even though it's in a triangle. I tease my husband all the time. I'm like, I need the triangle. He's like, it's a square. But if by using this I was able to put this dowel rod in and make it stand straight and square. And then I just let that dry with some hot glue, and then just using some green moss that you can get from the Dollar Tree or Walmart or anywhere really. I went ahead and covered the base around here. I know this is very common to do, but I really like it. It just gives it such a really pretty farmhouse look, especially with all the white that we have going on. And so now we're gonna use some hot glue and we're gonna glue this on, and then of course I have to put a bow on everything. So I'm going to tie a bow onto it, and then you guys, this project is going to be done. This is probably one of my favorite projects that I did for this video. It was so worth it. It was worth all of the broken blades that I broke with my jigsaw to cut this out. Now, next time, if I do this again, I probably will use a little bit of a different tactic, but I'm still very happy with how this turned out. Okay, and for this next project right here, I'm going to be using this piece of wood. This is a lath stick that you can get from Home Depot, actually over in the cement section, and so the concrete section. You can get a whole bunch of these. These are 4 foot long. You can see they're just a little bit thicker than paint sticks, but they're very close to that. So I actually saw this idea on, I believe it was either Pinterest or Etsy, I'm not quite sure, but I saw these cute little Easter basket tags, and I knew that I could do this myself basically for nothing. So this is just a piece of wood that I already had in my scrap pile. So far this project has cost me nothing because this is just scrap wood. I also forgot that my last project was under $5. Oh, okay, I'm jumping all over the place, but you can see that I cut right there to kind of make this look like a little tag at the top. And then using some scrap wood right there, I just put this on to drill a hole into these because I really wanted these to have that like true tag look. But jumping back to my first project, I did forget to talk about the price. So the 2x6 that I had was just scrap wood. It was free. The dowel I already had, and then I used the base, which was like $1. So if you include all the supplies, it was like less than $5 to make, because this is the 5 under 5. So we're doing 5 DIYs that cost us less than $5. Okay, so this is some scrapbook paper that I had on hand, and then these are some cute little wooden bunny cutouts that I got from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just tracing these on because we're going to be cutting those out and putting it onto the bunnies. The challenge that I was talking about earlier just popped up here on the screen because I wanted to talk about that. This is the 5 under 5 challenge that is on the 5th of every month, hosted by Emily from Farm Charm Chic and by Missy from the Crafty Cove, and their guest host this month is Dawn from Designs by Gaddis. And this is a challenge that I absolutely love because it's just like what we were talking about. You get to do 5 DIYs for under $5, and it's on the 5th of every month, and there's a fun theme. I really, really like this one. This is one of the challenges that I really try to participate in just because it is such a fun challenge. So if you get a chance, please go check out these amazing ladies and the rest of the playlist. It will be linked down below, and I promise you guys will find tons of amazing inspiration. What I was doing here while I was talking is I found these little, the risers, I believe, that you can use with like nuts and bolts. They're just these little, I swear they're called risers. I'm gonna double check that. I just painted them. I painted them white first because I felt like the paint would stick to the chalk paint better. And then I gave them this like fake metallic color just to kind of make them look gold. Now I'm using some of that Minwax stain again in the color Provincial, and I'm just getting these little tags stained. And then while they're drying, I took the paper cutouts that we did with these bunnies and just using a glue stick, I am gluing the paper onto them just to give them some cute character and color. I have 2 boys and 2 girls, so I did 2 that were for boys, 2 that were for girls. The girls I just did kind of the floral and the pinks, and and whatnot. The boys, I just did some more neutral colors. And then using my Cricut, I went ahead and I cut out each one of their names. Now you can do this freehand if you want. You can draw this on with a marker, a paint marker, however you would like to do this. It's actually really easy, but I do love to use my Cricut for stuff like this just because it's very fast and easy for me. And so I had to help it come off just a little bit because of the stain, but it essentially all transferred and did well. Using some Mod Podge, I wanted to seal these in place, and so I put a really good layer of that down, as you can see here, and then I let that dry very well. I used some super glue from the Dollar Tree to glue these little risers around the hole here, so you can see that it's going to give it that like kind of a rustic tag look. And then I just used some hot glue for the wood, and I glued a bunny on the end of these tags. And then you can see that this is just simple and easy, and they're just to go on your little Easter baskets. Again, I thought these were so cute to do for your kids or your grandkids or whoever, whatever kids, I mean, or your husband, whoever, I mean, whoever you get an Easter basket for, really. And so using some jute twine, I went ahead and I just pulled these through, and I just kind of weaved a simple knot so that I could take them off and remove them if I wanted to. And I didn't tie the ends in case I wanted to wrap them around and tie them around something, and here they are. And you guys, I am not on the ball. I don't have my kids' Easter baskets yet for this year. So I just went ahead and used this little bucket, just to kind of give you an idea of what it looks like tied onto something. If I was on the ball, I would have had my Easter baskets for my kids all ready to go, but I don't, and I probably won't until like the week before Easter. Okay, this next DIY is going to be this darling wood sign that I got from the Dollar Tree. I love the half beads on it, and I actually really did love this little bunny on it, and I wanted to use it. But where that top part is, where like the little jute hanger is, the bunny was just a little bit crooked. When it hung, the bunny didn't sit flush or straight, and so I went ahead and I was very careful to scrape that off. It did tear just a little bit on the back, but thankfully you can't tell. So I went ahead and I gave this a really good layer of chalk paint in the color White by Waverly, and I used a little small detail brush to be able to get in between all of those little half beads because they were already glued in place prior to me painting them. And then, of course, here comes the distressing. So just using a chip brush and some brown paint, I went ahead and I distressed this really well, especially around those half beads, because you can see that by adding some color, it just kind of really makes them pop, and it gives that raised dimension of the beads. Then I took that little bunny that I popped off and I stained it with the same color that I'll be using throughout this entire video, but it's with the color Provincial by Minwax. And then once that was dry, I distressed it again because I just can't not distress everything. Everything's got to have some distressing. And then I just kind of put some emphasis right there on that little tail, just so that it was kind of like a little white bum. And then I thought it'd be cute to just kind of give this some dimension, something that kind of just popped off of the project or the page, if you will. And so I just tied a little jute twine on around its neck, and then we just glued this back in place, straightened it out just a little bit so that we could use that top part. I still wanted to use this as a hanger because you could hang this up alone, or you could hang this within the middle of like a green wreath, and I think that would be so pretty to add that, and then you kind of have two options. So I glued this down a little straighter, and then using some boxwood greenery that I cut up into these small little sprigs, I just went ahead and I glued some on either side of the bunny, the front and the back, and then I put the jute hanger back on, and the part that you don't see because my battery died, and I always miss it when my battery dies, but I did get some ribbon and I tied a bow onto the project. So here's the bow. You can see that's just some ribbon from Walmart, and here is the completed project, and I love how just simple and farmhouse this turned out. For this next project, I picked up this cute little sign from the Dollar Tree. It's like this little truck with little bunnies in the back, and I thought it would be fun to make a carrot patch with the bunnies and the truck looking like they were just leaving the carrot patch after picking up a load of carrots. So going back to those lath sticks that I use, that I just get from Home Depot, and again, I'll have those linked down below, or at least the name of those linked down below for you guys. I just cut these down to size for the width of that little sign right there. And then I made it about 2.5 inches. I guess I should have said length I meant length. The length right there, the long ways, is the length of that same little sign there with the truck and the fence on it. And then the width, they are like 2.5, I believe, these cute little 2.5 pieces. And so I just stapled those together, and then we're going to be staining all of the wood pieces. So this little truck and then that little box that I just made, we are staining that in the color Provincial by Minwax. And then we are going to let this dry really well, and then we'll be able to paint it. So I left the bunnies because I wanted to do the bunnies white. This I'm just kind of freehanding because I could see where the truck was, and then I was like, wait a minute, I'm not doing a good job freehanding this, and this is taking forever. So then you can see that I just used some painter's tape, and then we just whip this out much faster. Then I let that dry, and I actually distressed those cute little bunnies. I started to distress the truck. You can see that there's some white distressing all over it, and then I decided that I didn't like the white distressing as much, so I taped everything off, and we're going to make our cute little truck this burnt orange color. And I purposely did it very sparse, I guess, over the stain look. And I really like this, you guys. I like how this technique turned out. I mean, okay, I got a little heavier with the orange, you can see here, but I do like that it still kind of makes it look really rustic. And then again, with just kind of going around the edges, this right here, even though it's brown, I like that it kind of almost made it look like the orange truck had some rust on it. So I kind of did the opposite. Instead of like a brown truck with orange rust, I did an orange truck with brown rust. I don't even know if that's a thing, but that's what we did. And it looks, I really like it. I think it looks good distressed. So after everything is distressed, then we are going to be finishing our little box, which is going to make our carrot patch here. Now I knew that I needed to put some greenery down in here to make it look like the carrots were growing, and I needed something for that to sit on. So just using these popsicle sticks that you can get from the Dollar Tree, I cut them in half, and then there's no rhyme or reason to this because you won't see this part on the bottom. And so I just really quickly cut these in half and hot glue these all the way down. So now we have a spot to put our greenery in the bottom of our box, and it will not fall through and out the bottom. So now we're going to be doing some of this floral foam. Now I'm doing 3 pieces here specifically because even though we're going to be filling this with some green moss to make this look like a carrot patch, you're going to see here in just a minute that we are going to have some cute little bunnies making an appearance in our carrot patch. I didn't want to use all of my green moss, and so I just used some of my scrap paper towels that I stain on to kind of help with some filler, and then I just put some green in over that. So now right here I'm just kind of doing a dry fit. What you don't see me do is I do go back in here and there in just a little bit and push some hot glue into the bottom. I just kind of like lift up the greenery and then push it down in, and then it works out good. So right here, these little bunnies are from the Dollar Tree, and I went ahead and I distressed these little guys because I thought it would be so cute to have these guys looking up at the truck like, wait a minute, what are they doing with our carrots? So I got these little carrots. They're like styrofoam carrots from the Dollar Tree. This was a perfect find because they're like these darling 3-dimensional carrots. So right there you can see that I used wow, here we are. It's gone. Okay. I put the bunnies on these little spikes and I pushed them down in so that it looked like the bunnies were looking up at the truck. Using my Cricut, I cut out this cute little used it as a stencil, and then put that on the truck. So you can see that the truck says carrot patch, shipped and picked. Wow, picked and shipped. You guys, words are hard. And then I glued this on the back, and here is the completed project. You can see that there's like these other little bunnies wondering what's going on, and they're looking up at the truck with curious interest and wondering why the bunnies in the truck look so white when those other bunnies don't. White from paint, I should specify. Okay, using this right here. This DIY is really fun. Now, I know you've seen probably tons of projects like this with these little terracotta pots, but they are so cute, and I've never done anything with them. They're perfect for little tiered trays or cute little accent, so I decided that I needed some too. So you can see that I painted them white using Waverly White chalk paint, and then using some brown. We did a very, very heavy hand of distressing in these because we're gonna give these a very like farmhouse vibe. These are just some skewer sticks that I got in a package from Walmart. They work really great when you want to use them for like little picks, or like I use these when I glued these, like those little bunnies in the carrot patch. And so they work really good. Once everything was dry, I went ahead and I cut down some floral foam and pushed these down in to our cups. And now I cut up the sticks. You guys, I got these darling little moss bunnies from the Dollar Tree, and I thought they were so fun. So we're gonna be putting them onto these sticks. So we distress the sticks, of course, push these into the foam of the bunnies, and then push this down into the foam within the pots. And I did the middle one just a little bit taller to kind of give it some dimension. Now we're gonna use some of this brown moss. I believe it's called alligator. No, it's not. What is this? It's darker moss, and we're gonna fill the pot with this, and then we're just gonna embellish it with a cute little jute twine bow, and that is going to be it for this little project here, you guys. Here they are, all finished. I thought these turned out so good, and I feel like you could put these 3 together. You could put them individually on a tiered tray. So many options. This project cost, goodness, the 3 pots all together were $1, and the 3 bunnies all together were $1. Well, I mean like $1.25. So wow, it was like maybe like a $3 project. So that is going to be it, you guys, for all of my projects in this video. All of these projects were under $5 to make, whether I specified that or not. I apologize, and I'm sorry that I don't have an end segment for you in this video. I will be getting back on track and back on my feet. I know I keep promising that. Maybe I shouldn't even say it. You guys, thank you so much for watching. Please leave a comment down below and let me know which one was your favorite. If you guys would like to, please consider subscribing and liking this video because it really does help my channel. Make sure you check out the playlist, and thank you guys again so much for watching, and stay tuned for another video, hopefully coming very soon. Thank you again to Emily, Missy, and Dawn. And like I said, be sure to check out that playlist, you guys, because you do not want to miss out on all of that amazing goodness. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.